Hey everybody, Stu Smith here going live. I hope you guys are well today. It's been one of those days. In fact, it's been one of those weekends where my plans turned upside down because I got sick. Yep, had to take a test, but I found out I have COVID. So my Saturday turned into not going to a football game and seeing a whole bunch of friends and hanging out. And I did do a little bit of a workout, but during that workout, I realized something was wrong. And because I have my almost 80-year-old dad living with me who's got some health issues, I took a test just because, you know, don't want to get him sick, especially with COVID. Um, and sure enough, I had COVID. So I just stayed in all weekend and walked. I don't really feel horrible, just don't want to get people sick. So just stayed home. I did feel bad on Saturday, though. So what this means is I'm squeezing it in when I can. And right now, my dad's off at breakfast, and I'm at the place in my house where we crisscross a lot. So I'm getting this done while he's gone, and just so I don't, pass on those germs to him. But I did get something done today. I still woke up at my regular time, walked a little bit, met the boys out there for workouts. I didn't join them for the workout, just set it up for them. And they got it done without me, which they should be able to do that without me anyway. So, and they do. So that was easy, part of the schedule. Um, Now, just trying to get things in, and as a normal week would create for me. Only thing is, I'm missing a few other things. Like I missed swim workouts last night um, that we usually do at the Naval Academy, and missed a Navy home football game. That sucked, but I didn't feel good anyway. So now I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get all this my work day into my day. And I know I only have probably till noon before I start hitting a wall again because that's what happened yesterday. I got a lot done in the morning, fell apart. Um, I usually do well, I shouldn't say usually. This would have been my third week of the Never Quit Mindset podcast, but just didn't happen. So I do have, and I'm counting this as it. We're doing a podcast with a friend of mine on his podcast today about the Never Quit Mindset. So I'll share that link later with you guys um, whenever it pops up. But the podcast is called Coffee and Conversations with Michael Ostrolik. So he's a coach, and I'm not sure what he's going to call this particular podcast, but that's what his is called. And I'll be on his tonight. So I'm going to count that as my weekly Never Quit Mindset podcast. So once again, I am just squeezing things in whenever I can to just get them done. And I always feel better when I do that, even when I know I can't work out because if I get my heart rate up too high, I start coughing, and that doesn't feel good. And I just give myself bronchitis. And nobody's got time for bronchitis. Um, Favorite video, by the way. So that's me. That's what I'm doing. Getting stuff done. But I could take some questions if you guys have them. Um, but I think a lot of us beat ourselves up whenever we can't get things done. And you just have to realize that life gets in the way of your best made plans, and it is up to you to either come back stronger and take some rest or try to get in as much as you can. And it may not be perfect, but at least it gets done. And people who are relying on you can do what they need to do with or without you. And yeah, that's what we do whenever we try to squeeze it in. So I will be short today unless you guys start popping off some questions. Um, Happy to answer a few questions if you got them. Ryan's doing a little synopsis over here for me over on YouTube. Always appreciate your notes. Ryan asks a question: how can you get prepared quickly for a PT test if you've been busy? I was hired as a federal agent for FLETC and leave soon in 9 weeks. Man, I have a FLETC fitness test workout for you. The PEEB, Physical Examination Battery. It's over there on Stu Smith Fitness. You can find it. It's the FLETC government contract workout because a lot of government contractors have to do that FLETC fitness test. In fact, I think it is 9 weeks, 8 or 9 week fitness workout. I might have made it 12 in a recent update now that I think about it, but it's a great program. And it's nothing that you probably haven't done already. That Illinois agility test is a little different, so you want to learn how to change direction and zigzag and things like that. You do have a bench press you have to do instead of push-ups, and you have a 1.5 mile run as well. Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. Congrats. Good gig. Yeah, in fact, if you go to StuSmithFitness.com and click the police and firefighter link, it is right here, Ace the Peeb, FLETC government contract workout, Ace the Peeb. These are for a variety of government, federal law enforcement jobs. So yeah, it's a 10-week program. So do what you can and go crush it. Yeah, but that one's been working for people for a while. Hey, Stu, I sent you an email about this. CSS, do you think it's important to train both sides equally or hone down one side? Yeah, I thought I answered that one. Maybe it didn't go out right. But yeah, you should. My advice is this: you want to practice both sides, especially with fins, because that's going to be the bigger swimming event for you. You're going to swim for 2 miles, which takes anywhere between 60 and 80 minutes. So you want to learn both sides when you do that. So that means pulling and breathing on one side, pulling and breathing on the other side. Usually you go for like 5 minutes one way, 5 minutes the other side, switch with your swim buddy, things like that. With a 500-yard swim, it doesn't really matter because you're only swimming for 8 or 9 minutes. So the need for switching sides is not there. But if there is an instructor that says, hey, I want you facing me the entire time of while you are swimming, and he's sitting on the side of the pool, that means every length you have to change sides and face them. Sometimes that happens. It's not a written rule, but just it's good to be prepared and know how to do it if you need to. Somebody says, I keep stopping when swimming. Stu, don't know what to do. You need to email me a video of you swimming so I can see what you're doing. But if you're stopping, it sounds like you are over gliding, because swimming the CSS is all, in fact, any swimming, if you think about it, is all about momentum. It's real easy to lose momentum by gliding too long and stopping in your glide. Then you got to recreate that momentum with the next stroke. It's also real easy to waste momentum by gliding too short and missing out on another yard of glide time just by sitting there and doing nothing. So losing momentum and wasting momentum are two different things, but two things you need to figure out. But usually, and statistically speaking, I'm saying a 3 Mississippi glide is about the best most people can do. So you kick, you get in that glide position, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, pull on 3. That is a logical amount of time to be able to not waste momentum and not lose momentum. However, sometimes I've seen people who maybe don't have a good kick, don't have a good streamline, and they stop at 2. That usually is an indicator for me that we need to work on one of two things: your kick power or your recovery and streamline body position, because you could be acting like a plow versus a torpedo in the water. So yeah, that's that's how you fix it. Yeah, I feel fine. It's like I said, it's a head cold. I'm just avoiding people so I don't get them sick. And that's the most brutal part, because I got to go upstairs in my upstairs office. I got a bed in there and my computer and a TV. And I just sit in there all day and watch Netflix. Tried to read a book yesterday, but my head wasn't allowing it. Let's see. Hey, Stu, we have a test in Sweden where you take your 10K time by 5 minus your bench press, your max pull-ups times 2, and you get a score. Below 50, you earn gold. How would you train for it? Well, obviously, the thing that you want to do is get a faster run time. So run faster with good running workouts for speed for that 6 mile run. So, that's a good, if you can keep it between a 6 and 7 minute mile pace, roughly 2,000 meter pace, or 1,500 meter, I guess. 6 and 7 minute 1,500 meter. That's kind of our metric mile. um, that'd put you in good stead there. So start learning that pace, and then bench press 1 rep max. Got to get strong. Max pull ups. That's a combo of muscle stamina and endurance. I like this test though. That's pretty legit. It's very similar to our Navy PST, and that's how we score it as well. We don't do the times except for pull ups, but the way we do it is we take our run time and we take our swim time in seconds and we add them up. So let's just say, for easy math, 10-minute run, 10-minute swim, that's 1,200 points. Now you subtract your pull ups, push ups, sit ups from it. So let's say you get 100 pull ups, 100 push ups, 100 sit ups. So that's 1,200 minus 100, 100. So that's 1,000 now. And then pull ups, let's say you get 20. Now you multiply your pull ups times 5 or 6, I can't remember. I've seen both over the years. I think it's 6. So if you get 20, that's 120 points. That subtracts from the 1,000. So now you're at 880 as your score. Lowest score wins. Very similar. It doesn't, just because the way they grade it doesn't change the way you train for that. You still need heavy bench press, lots of reps of pull ups, and a fast run. So workouts for those 3, you're going to need a strength training with upper body day, and you need a good, lungs and leg day to get better at that running, some muscle stamina and endurance. Yeah, I understand the grading process. You did what? Send me a video? Well, send it again. When it comes to kicking CSS, scissor kicks, right? Yeah, I mean, unless you know how to do a good breaststroke kick, either one's fine. Most non-swimming athletes, which sounds like you are, probably haven't developed the hips well enough to do a good breaststroke kick. So a scissor kick tends to work better for athletes that grew up on land doing running activities like this. Your legs move like this, not like this. So that's why I teach scissor kick to land athletes. Swimmers just come in there and just crush it because they're swimmers. Jordan says, what do you think of saunas and ice baths for recovery? I heard they reduce hypertrophy, but at the same time, you recover faster, so you can train more. Yeah, I've heard the same thing. I would advise using them for certain occasions. They're not needed every day. And especially if you're going through a lift cycle and you're trying to get bigger and stronger, I would probably avoid them. However, if you're doing workouts in the heat of the day, and you're trying to cool yourself down, those ice baths are quite helpful for that, or just cold baths are helpful for that. But they're not helpful for, I guess, muscle protein synthesis, supposedly, from what I have been reading. So it may not be helpful for you recovering from that lift as quickly. But if you're doing multiple workouts in a day and you just want to reduce your body temperature, that's a great way to do it and get you recovered for that next event of the day, if that's going to be a second workout or something, or third. Um, a lot of people like using them for competition weekend. So let's say you're a rugby player and you're going to play 3 rugby games over a weekend if you win, and maybe a fourth for the championship. You need to be doing some things that can help you recover for that next activity, playing rugby again. Some might be bruising, so cold can help with that kind of pain, joint pain, muscle recovery as well for that next event, body heat. So that's where I would look at those things. And I've read sauna is very helpful as well for other elements of fitness that benefit from sauna. I tend to not use a lot of sauna. Probably done it a few times in my life. Probably can count it on both hands how many times I've been in the sauna, but I do like cold baths. So there you go. What type of swim do PJs do? Well, you know what? That's funny you should ask that, because I've heard some changes are occurring in their selection, and I don't know if it was selection wide or if it was just a choice that you had. Um, but you can do a freestyle or a side stroke or breaststroke for the fitness test for 500 meters. You can also, whenever you put on the fins, traditionally it's been the lead arm trail arm swim, where you keep your arms still, one hand over your head, one hand on your hip, and you just flutter kick. Now they're doing the CSS as well. So I don't know if it's a choice or if you have to do the CSS now. So just heard they were getting away from the lead arm trail arm. Hey Stu, what is your favorite way to train push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups for those doing federal agency PFTs? You had 2 months to prepare. What would you do? Here's what I would do. In fact, you'll like this workout. Probably you don't have to worry about the swimming. Um, I have a book called Calisthenics and Cardio that will really help you with this, but these are my 3 favorite workouts of that book, and you can make a week of them. Check out the link I just put in there, Bjorn. Basically, it's a PT pyramid, a superset, and a max rep set. There's running in between. There's also swimming, but if you don't need to swim, you could just replace that swimming with other cardio, like biking or something like that. Excuse me. What would be a good pre-workout breakfast? Something with carbs in it, especially if you're going to go work out after that breakfast. So I usually do like honey, some bananas, or a banana, some water, um, maybe some peanuts, peanut butter or something like that, just to get some calories in my belly, especially if I haven't eaten anything in 10 hours. That's what I would do. But I've written about it. In fact, uh, meal before PFT. Here you go. You can. This is a article from military.com that I wrote. You guys can see it. I'll put the link over here on Instagram as well. Looks like I've answered everything over here on Instagram. How about over here? Yeah. So Ryan says, I hear honey's very effective for energy simulating caffeine. Well, caffeine doesn't do anything for energy. Caffeine just pretends you're not tired. Does that make sense? Like there's no energy source in caffeine. There's energy sources in honey because there's carbohydrates in honey. If you're just taking caffeine, if it has sugar in it, yeah, sure, there's some carbs in it that are going to give you actual energy. The caffeine in there just masks being tired and elevates the heart rate artificially, which I just never liked. If I was lifting weights, yeah, maybe, and not running, sure, take some caffeine before the workout. But if I'm doing a lot of cardio and high rep calisthenics where I'm failing, um, I don't. I don't use it, but I will carb up. If you want energy, carb up. That's where your body's going to go to. When swimming backwards, I tend to slide a bit to the left, not going in a straight line. Why do you think that is? My left shoulder is more mobile than my right, by the way. Thanks. Could be. Like you talking about swimming backstroke? Because I don't really swim backstroke, so I don't do any of that. Never have. But I will do turtle backing, which is just laying on your back and flutter kicking with fins. Keep the head out of the water and just flutter kicking. Um, that can also lead you to go left or right depending on leg strength. So it has all to do with, yes, mobility of your joints, especially your shoulders, which way you glide. But it also has um, more to do with um, like leg strength and arm strength. Like if you're right-handed, you're probably going to pull harder with your right and kick harder with your right. If you're left-handed, the opposite is true. And when you do that, you're always getting a little bit off that straight line because one leg's going harder than the other. You're going to start veering that way. So it's something you have to watch out for. And that's why when you're swimming in the water, you always look up to see if you are swimming straight. On your back, I have no idea how you do that. Other than the way we would do it is we would have a compass watch or a compass attack board on our belly, and we could just set the reciprocal heading to where we're going and just stay on track that way and just look at our compass, not have to look backwards. Somebody says just Cuba says I just texted you about taper before PT for my unit. That's cool. I'll try to answer it on that text chain, but I will tell you this: tapering before PT with your unit. I mean, just a normal day of rest is probably sufficient. My advice is this: try to find out what you're doing on those PT days. That way, if it's an upper body day, you know not to be doing upper body day the day before that PT test. If it's a full body day, maybe you just do cardio or something the day before. Or if it's a long ruck and cardio day, you might want to save your legs the day before. So it's just planning. And there's no need to take a day off before a group PT, or even a PT test. Do a mobility day if you're in doubt. That means 5 minutes of cardio, 5 minutes stretching, foam rolling, and um, do that 5 times. It's a great little workout. You're going to feel good afterwards and be ready to PT the next day. Promise. What would you suggest to increase your CO2 tolerance? You know what? That's something I don't really consider in my training. I know I have done workouts that do that. In fact, they're called hypoxic swim workouts that do that for you. And basically, you're doing freestyle swimming, but instead of breathing every 2 or 3 strokes like a lot of people do, is you extend that out like 4 strokes, 6 strokes, 8 strokes, 10 strokes, and see how high you can go. We usually do a pyramid of it. So whether you're an odd breather or an even breather, it's up to you. You can go 3, 5, 7, 9. You can go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and you do 100 yards each time up the pyramid. And when you're done with 100 yards, you make it a little harder. Go up 2 more, go up 2 more, go up 2 more until you can't do 100 yards at that stroke per breath count, and then you come back down. And that's a really good way to do that. In fact, I was doing it last few times I was swimming, and now that I have this COVID thing, I know that my lungs are going to be a little jacked up for a week or so. So I probably won't get back into that until maybe 7 to 10 days from now. Jordan says, yeah, backstroke. Yeah, I'm sorry, Jordan. I just have never done backstroke. I mean, I've played around with it. I could probably count the number of times I've actually used backstroke as a swim workout on one hand. So it's just not something I do. So I'm not the guy to ask on that one. Thanks for doing this live while having a cold. Very cool of you. Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I don't feel horrible. I feel like I have a head cold, be honest with you, but COVID test says I took 2 of them. They said I have COVID. So just trying not to be a dick and get other people sick. May I ask what time your podcast today, A Never Quit Mindset, is it live? You know what? I might do one today, but it's just going to depend on how I feel. I think what I'm going to do is count this podcast I'm doing tonight at 7 called Coffee and Conversation with Mike Ostrelink. Longtime friend, longtime uh, workout partner. I don't know if it's live or not, so I'll tell you. But as soon as I figure it out, I will let you know. But my next Never Quit Mindset podcast, I will make it up this week sometime when I'm feeling better and I'm not worried about being contagious here where my dad crosses us. Because it's going to be a fun one because I am interviewing Marcus Aurelius. So it's just a joke. I'm not actually interviewing him, but I'm just talking about him and how his teachings apply to the never quit mindset. I quoted him probably a dozen times in the Never Quit Mindset book, just because he really had some good ones. And while he's not known for the Never Quit Mindset, he probably embodies it better than most. But I'll have something on again this week. All right. Well, looks like I have accomplished my live Q&A of my to-do list. So I got an article done today, got my live Q&A done today. Gonna send a newsletter out today, and got a 7 o'clock podcast tonight. All while trying to recover from being sick. So there you go. That's what we're going to try to do. And I'll be back tomorrow, and we'll have some CSS videos. I got a whole bunch over the weekend that I need to review, and we'll maybe post some of them if they're pretty common errors. Though I will say this, I had an error this week that I've never seen before, and I'll just leave that as a teaser. Been teaching for 25 years how to do this stroke and saw something new. So you're always a student. You always learn something new. Always learn how people do things, right or wrong. So keep your eyes open, keep learning, and I will be back tomorrow to do another one of these. And if that podcast is live tonight at 7, I will let everybody know somehow, whether it is through Instagram or through a quick YouTube post. Okay, folks, I will chat with you later. You guys have a good one.